Good day, everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It's your Drive Bullshit Quarter. Today's video, we're going to continue working on the Ford 8.8 swap. In the last video, I fitted up. But before I can make the upper control arms, I need to basically mock it up, assemble it. A long time ago, to compensate for the spring sagging, I just put I think it's a 2.5 inch, like little body lift right there. That's going to come out. That has definitely got to come out before I can fit the new springs in, because the lift springs I took out were for 4-inch lift, but over the years they sag, so I bought 4.5 inch lift springs. So we're going to see how those are going to fit in. Then over here, got to modify the drive shaft, because obviously you know the double cardon will bolt onto the MP231. However, due to the flange on the 8.8, this is not going to bolt up. Now, of course, you could buy a different flange that'll work, like a pinion yoke. But I got this from East Coast Gear Supply, and this is the one I'm going to assemble. That way I can just bolt on to the factory setup. But I do need to get started on this, so I can take that off. Yeah, I welded a nut on the bottom of the bump stop mount. So because I did that, I'm going to have to modify it again. Now these things have been in there for about a year. Actually, they came out pretty easy. Get this other one out too. I think I hear somebody wants to go inside. Hello there. You want to go inside? Hey, want to go inside? It's a nice, beautiful day. Look at this. You trying to bite me? You want to bite me? If you're ever curious, these Daystar 2.5 inch budget lift actually held out really good. You can see where the spring had rested on it. Now, going back to the bump stop here, I had to weld a nut on it because of the depth. So if I would have drove that nut down flush, so this would have went down below, there would have been nothing for that spring to rest on to slide off. So that's why I welded that nut on, so it had a little bit, just a little bit to keep the spring from sliding off. Now, of course, I can modify those, or, like I said, I got these. But the big question is, what concerns me is that it has a nut on there. So even though it says for a Jeep Wrangler bolt-in extended bump stop front and rear, is it going to be the same bolt pattern in the factory? Let's go see and find out. So I got these Daystar extended bump stops a while ago. We're going to see if they're going to be the same thread or not, because if they're not going to be the same thread, that's going to make things a little difficult. Oh yeah, seems like we're threading in. There, I can see right there, went in, use my brass hammer, gonna tap it down. Just gonna stick socket underneath there. Now if I'm lucky, if I'm very lucky, should be able to get that one there in. And it looks like I'm good. I just flipped it around. Just tapping that bottom side in. Get it down enough. And I think I am. Get the other clip. If these aren't seated, they are going to pop out. And it's not going to be good for you. Okay, we're on. Next stage, I need to fit it up. My setup's going to be different because I have a 4.8 LS4 Tech motor in there, so it's not going to be the same as what you guys have. So we're going to see. Hopefully, because I don't want to pay for a driveline modification. So I'm hoping this is going to fit up. Another box I can get out of the garage. Rubicon Express Springs RE1360. Just got them on the bench right there. And this is a Rough Country 4-inch. We're going to compare. So even though these were a 1/2 inch taller, get it to stay, than what the Rough Country ones were, when I compare them to the Rough Country that's been on there for a long time, you'll be able to see how much it sagged. Alright, Rough Country 4-inch. Alright, there we are. There's the height difference. Rubicon Express 4.5, Rough Country was a 4. I don't know how much it sagged, but when I put that spacer on to compensate, the old setup still going to be a little bit taller, but I'm not putting those back in. I'm going to roll to new springs. Now I got to get back underneath, jack the differential up, remove those skates, put those jack stands underneath, put that big jack underneath, drop it down as far as it can go, and then fit the springs up. Of course, the spring on the far side went in pretty easy because there was nothing else in the way. But now, get this one on. I need to there we go. That was easy. So I'm going to jack it up, put the jack stands underneath the axle again. That way the weight will be supported on the axle and I'll know exactly where that flange is sitting, and then we can test fit the drive shaft. So now we've got the jack stands underneath. Kind of gives us an indication how it's going to sit, how it's going to look. We need to see our driveline angle. $68. Now it's time to bolt up the drive shaft and see how we look. It's not too much space underneath here, so I apologize. I'm not going to get any B-roll of fitting up this drive shaft. I'm just going to get it in. So now, try to get in there so you guys can see. I'm pretty close. I need to tilt it forward now, so that this is more straight, because right now it seems to kind of come like that. There's two ways that you could do this. If you have adjustable, you could either tighten up the upper arms and then bring the axle like that, or the lower arms, you can push them out farther and then correct the angle that way. But now I know where I'm sitting, how everything's gonna be, bump stop. Things are looking good. Well, it's a good thing that I hoard stuff. price of metal. Everything's getting expensive. Gonna use these scraps that I got to make the lower or upper control arms. This one here was so close to making two, but it's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna utilize as much as I can. Fuck, really? This truck really pisses me off. Yeah, get those tacked up, and we'll be ready to weld everything up solid. These ones are just all tacked up now. So, I'm gonna come back over here and pull this all apart. What you're gonna have to do yet is a couple things. Springs are gonna come back out. Because now that I got the drive shaft in there, the length has gotten a little shorter. So I need to lower it down, see where the slip yoke is sitting, and then raise it up and do the same. Now I'm pumping 170 watts. Such a beautiful day, but I need to get this wrapped up. So last thing I want to do, jack up the rear axle again, get the jack stands out, drop it down, get the springs out, and then jack it up just so I can see the drive shaft. And then if everything looks good, I'm gonna pull the lower control arms out. I got the uppers on the bench there, and we're gonna weld them out. A little bit easier to get out than it was to put in. In case you're wondering, it's my backup in case the jacks fail. So now I'm going to jack up the axle and see if there's any difference in the splines. If anything, I can cut the spline shorter. If it is like bottoming out, that's not a big deal. Take off about 1/2 inch or so. So I got it up as far as the bump stop will touch. Get some better lighting on there. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, okay. When it's up, it actually comes out. So, axles on jack stands, I'm going to leave the old upper control arms in for right now. Make it easier instead of going through the hassle of trying to get everything realigned. Remove these rear ones, or bottom ones I should say. We're going to start getting those welded out. There's the drive shaft. I'm going to remove the drive shaft. There's a grease nipple up top. I'm going to remove that grease nipple and then push that shaft down as far as it can go. And then see if I can push out any grease. And then once everything's set back up, I will pump it back up. So providing that nothing else changes, this will be pretty easy to get those lower control arms back in afterwards. It's all fun and games right now. It's time to get this all welded up. So then we can start on the POR treatment, then paint, and then fit them up. There we have it. We are all welded up. Still a little bit warm. I think it's motherfucking beer time. I don't know, what do I feel like? What do I feel like? Maybe I'll grab a real beer for once. Let's grab here. Sunshine Rain IPA. All right, everybody, making progress. Sunshine and Rain IPA, brewed in Calgary, Alberta by Cabin Brewing. I think I've had this one before, and it's not too bad. Let's have a good old sip here. .7%. That's a good, solid IPA. We are making good progress. Control arms are done. Like I said, I gotta get them in the POR 15, get a coat of rust paint on them, fit them up, then gotta put springs back in, get the weight back underneath the axles, put jacks underneath, create a track bar, tack it all up, fit it up, remove the springs and the jacks, put the track bar in, do the movement up and down, make sure that there's no binding. If that's good, weld that up. Same thing, POR 15, paint it. Then we can start assembling the whole axle. Then once the whole axle's assembled, then I'm pretty sure the rest of it's gonna go pretty smooth. Just gonna put the bearings in for the axle tube, put the brakes on, parking brake, I bought all the cables. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do the hydraulic brake lines. And I also got a 1-ton master cylinder that I'm going to replace on the Jeep. So that's another project I'm going to have to tackle. So there's lots to do yet. Going to keep me busy for a while. And then I'm going to start on the front axle. And once that's finished up, I guess it's time to look for a job. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. I'll see you guys in the next one. That's good beer. That is good beer.